And so, welcome to another edition of Nope, it's
Nope,
not Renee
nope.
Real Estate.
I said
It
no.
is Ask Renee Anything.
Ask me anything. AMA.
AMA.
Ask me anything.
How you doing?
Good, you.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
We're trying our own little thing with this now.
You got to switch it up every now and then.
Fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if you don't mind, we're just going to get right
Let's
into
get into it. Ask. What do you want to ask? What do you want to know?
Well,
what you want to know?
Let's start off easy. What are some hot things you got going on this weekend as a real estate agent? Got any open houses or?
So you're doing one of them.
I know
this
I
is
am.
a loaded question because he already knew what was going on this weekend. He's got.
I gotta ease into this thing, y'all.
He's got one of them. I've got a really cool listing here in town, and I was talking to somebody, back in the pandemic, listing agents didn't have to do much. You literally put on the market, it's going to sell. We're not in that market in some cases. And so I've got a listing that's super unique. So it's going to take a particular person, and I have to try and help find that person. And so one of the ways to help find buyers, so like when you list a house, you're not just putting the sign in the yard, putting it, on the socials and call it a day. Like you need to go after a buyer too, like actively, whether that's contacting other agents to say, do you know of a buyer? Hey, have you seen this listing? Because we don't know. I don't see everything that hits the market. Like we're running 100 miles a minute. So when someone's like putting a house on my radar, I'm like, oh shoot, yeah, wow, okay, right. And then it's in my mind when I meet people. So one of the ways to do that with agents is do what's called a broker open. I had an agent teach me about this when I first started, but you basically host an open house for agents. And in doing so, you provide food and drinks. So they, because agents, what is it about agents? If there's food and drinks, we're coming. Free food, free drinks, I'm there. Like mortgage lenders.
I'm going to be there. Yeah. I took off from work and still was there.
He has a day job, and he left lunch because he heard there was free food and free drink. I'm there. So something about free food and free drink, you go get an agent to show up. So I'm doing a broker open at this house tomorrow. And so it's been fun because I've been connecting with agents in text and I send out a mass email and just being like, hey, I'm doing this. But even if it's not a huge turnout at the broker open, the fact that I've been blasting it is really the point, because I'm trying to find that unique buyer for this unique property. It's a residence that has an office attached to it. That you can't access the house from the office. They're literally separate, but they're attached. And it's classified as a residential property. So you could get a residential loan. It's a very unique property.
Yeah.
So
there's going to be food and drinks there. It's going to be a broker engagement.
Yeah.
And then after that, that's when it's going to be the official open house for the public. So
correct.
And I'm still new to this. So what I'm hearing from you is the broker open house is just for the broker and the agents, just the industry people, right?
Because literally it's not in MLS.
Okay.
So the public, unless they happen to ride by
right.
and be like, what's going on? And like come in. And if they do, fine. But like it's only advertised in our internal.
Right.
Like I've created a list of email addresses for just the agents in town.
Okay.
And so I can blast it to just the agents. And then I've personally texted agents that I've become friends with and be like, come hang out. Like, I'm going to feed you and give you a drink. And maybe you can figure out who could buy this with,
Right,
so, yeah.
Right. Okay, cool. So now, if we go into the second one.
Ask me another question, Fred.
I want to ask you, where do you pull your inspiration from with the real estate? Is there like a certain agent locally or nationally?
So for buying and selling, I actually never followed anybody. That's not true. The person that introduced me to real estate, and by that I mean we were friends, and he would be like, hey, I'm doing open house, bring me a coffee. And because I was working minimally as an online professor, I'd be like, okay, so like I'd pick us up coffees and I'd sit there and we'd talk because it would be slow, and then people would come through and he'd be like, oh, hang on, and then he'd do his thing and I just listened, and you know Sunday after Sunday of that, and it wasn't every Sunday, but like often. Or then he'd literally call me and be like, hey, I'm going to show this property, come with me. I don't even know why. And I'd be in the car with him and the clients.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what am I doing in the car? And then we'd walk around the house, and I just, I'm one of those who learns best
hands on.
Yep. I can't read a book. I can't, I have to be in it. And he inadvertently, I don't even think he was thinking he was training me.
Right.
By bringing me along, it's like I knew how to do the job. But like when you talk about growth, so today I'm working on onboarding my first agent in Dominican Republic. Shout out to my friend Odile. So she's but when I'm looking at growing that part of the company, one of the biggest inspirations for that was Brett Gove, who Google that man. He's done more to build this company in America than most agents. And in 4 years has, while I've hit the top of the company in 4 years, every year, top 2%, he never iconed. He sold, but, did his selling, but he built the brokerage, the brand. He helped. And so we're rewarded as agents for introducing other agents to the brand. And now he's making like $800,000 a month. A month. Should I say it again?
I might not be able to calculate that. So I have a calculator on my phone, but
when he said 800,000 a month, like I couldn't even.
Goodness.
A month. I was like, what do you do with that? Like, I guess. So I happen to know a little bit that like as you're growing and scaling in life, your expenses scale with you.
Correct.
Right. So
Correct.
I'm sure he's got significant overhead in some respect, but still, like a month. And I mean, the market's taken a turn, and like agents have slowed. So of course his rev share comes from their sales.
Right.
And that's why when I was looking at building, I wanted to build globally, because I saw that like if our market slowed, like here's a great example. Like I'm working with agents now in Dubai. They're starting to onboard, and I've got a couple onboarding with me. We're slowing because of a recession and whatever else is going on. I don't participate in that, but whatever's going on to cause most agents to not sell as much, here Dubai's on fire. Like they're built, like they're in like a pandemic market.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I see the global value in this company if you're teaming up in different markets. So if one market's got a hit, you can kind of work in another market that's not yours by recruiting, agents and teaming up with them in other countries. So I've got a couple agents in Greece that are actively seriously looking at this. And the other thing, and I said this to Fred, is I want to travel and being able to go to countries because you actually are working with agents in those countries. It's like, well, now that's a write-off.
Yeah.
Because you've got to go see these people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I already got told, like, my DR girl, she's like, so when are you coming here? I was like, sign me up.
Yeah.
Weekend vacay, let's go. DR is not that far, right? No. I think Dominican is like a 3-hour flight.
Yeah.
Not that far. It's like, it's closer than Vegas.
It is, I believe.
It is. So yeah, that would be who I look to, like someone like Brett Gove, or Gene Frederick, who's actually above us. Yes. Gene Frederick's done a lot. He's a little less charismatic in his approach or delivery, but he's done the same thing. Like he's just very pragmatically talked to agents about what this company offers and how this is going to build a future for you, and matches it against where they are, and if it's a fit, then they sign up. And so he's got
the more traditional approach, like comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah, versus
very
like
cut and dry. Like this is it.
Yeah, that's the guy above us. Which is I'm a little more pragmatic that way too. Where like Brett Gove is like a charismatic, like fire, like you're wasting your time if you icon. And I remember he said that, I was like, oh. I'm sitting in Vegas going, but I worked so hard. I don't necessarily agree with that phrase because really our company only thrives if agents are working.
Right.
Because if you're not working, there's no rev share.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to just recruit. We only get paid if we're all actively working. So that should be an important aspect, I think, for anybody that's
absolutely
to shoot, or at least shoot for it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm waiting on one more.
Yeah,
should be coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming.
Yep, I see you already.
I love
space.
To space. I love to space. I love to space. It's coming.
And then I'm gonna ask you one more.
One more. Ask Renee all day, but only 3 things.
If there is an agent that you could ride along, shadow, learn from, again, locally or globally, and you may not have to, maybe give a name. Maybe
give a name. Give their name.
Yeah, maybe give a name.
Give their name. I think that if I want to be honest, I'd want to hang out with Glenn Sanford. Did you know that his team, before he created EXP, he had a team that sold 60 million in 1 year?
Dang.
Like, that's a huge. So the man isn't just a business icon. Like, he did the job and he did really good at it. So,
how many agents did he have?
I don't know how many he had with him, but 60. I want to say it was 60 million. Significant number. So I would love to, like, he created, like, I'd love to hang out with him for a day just to be like, you always want to go spend time with the people who are where you would want to be, or in, like, maybe I'm not going to create a company, but like hanging out with the people that have achieved more, done more, seen more, been more. And yeah, like if you see him, because I saw him at Vegas and he was talking, and he's very chill. And I love that he was like, he built the company because he said, we rise because we help others rise. And it wasn't about the money for him. Man's a billionaire, but it wasn't about the money for him. He wanted a company that was for the agents, by the agents. So it would be Glenn. Glenn, I want to hang out with you. Just for a day.
Let's make it happen.
Just a day.
Well, thank you for your time, Renee.
Thanks for the question.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. If you want to ask anything, if you're an agent, you want to know how I iconed, or you want to ask anything.
Yes, when you see this, when it gets published online and you're seeing this, write it in the chats so I can be able to take a look at it, and then I'll ask you.
He'll ask me. I mean, I can't talk about anything but myself.
Right.
Can't talk about nobody else's business but mine.
Right.
I said, but if it's about me.
Yeah. Ask anything for Renee. Now, don't be sitting up here trying to get no juicy gossip.
We're not asking those questions. We'll say thank you, but not today. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank y'all for joining in. We'll see you next week.
Cheers.
Bye.